Good evening, people. Hope you're all safe and well. Been a little bit of a while since I jumped on here, but in light of what's been kicking off the last couple of days, I felt I needed to jump on here and kind of put my penny worth in. I think you know what I'm talking about. This whole issue with Dominic Cummings, what he did, what he didn't do, what people's reaction to it is, what the press reaction to it is, the way that Boris has kind of spoken about it. So let's get things out in the open. I'm going to be completely blunt and honest about this. When a decision is made by anyone, if you're a parent and you make a decision based on the welfare of your child, everything else goes out the fucking window as far as I'm concerned. And I'll be honest, if I was faced with his situation, I probably would have done similar. Hang me for it, call me all the names under the sun like people have been doing with him. But if you're a parent, you make decisions sometimes based on what is good for you, not what's good for everyone else. Yes, there were lockdown rules in place, but let's be fucking honest with each other just for 1 second. Lockdown. If anyone can sit and watch this video now and honestly message me and say throughout the whole of lockdown they have stuck to it 100%. They have only ever left their house for essential items. They've never gone to the supermarket and bought anything else other than essential items, and they have stuck to it 100% rigidly, and they haven't just kind of even bent it a little bit just to kind of relieve the boredom of being indoors and say, you know what, I'm going to go to the shops because I just need to get out. And that's not, we were told we weren't to do that. But if anyone can sit here and say that at the moment and say, no, I've stuck to it 100%, one, good on you, congratulations, fantastic. If you can't, don't jump on this fucking bandwagon that the press want you to jump on about this guy making his decision about his personal circumstances. And the lies, let's be honest, there's been lies that have been brought out by the press that are not true. Or they're saying things have happened and saying they've got evidence, but when they're asked to show it, oh, we're not going to show it. Why? If you've got evidence to back this up, then come forward with it. But no, and it's the same bullshit that we get from the press all the time. They make stuff up to sensationalise things. They've wanted, throughout this whole pandemic media coverage, a pantomime villain. Someone that the country can get behind as a hero, but then they also want a villain who the country can boo and hate and be a derisive, hated figure. And they've now got that. The press are over the moon about this because they've now got someone that they can put on the front of newspapers that people hate. And the press hate this guy. Before any of this happened, the press didn't like this guy. So it's kind of fallen into their laps twice. They've got the chance to make a hate figure out of this, but they've also got the chance to have a go at someone they don't like. And thirdly, they've got the chance to have a pop at the government again, especially the BBC, who are quite fond of making up shit and sensationalising things if it's to try and discredit the government. So, this guy, he decides he's going to put himself to the press on his own, not have someone speak for him. Well over an hour, I think it was nearly an hour and a half, he let the press just basically fire insults at him pretty much, and basically it was like a public flogging, it was like a public hanging, but he did it. And then what happens afterwards? The press starts saying, well, he should have done it sooner. Fucking hell, the guy can't win then, can he? Because he's done what you've asked him to do, and you've had your little moment of being able to be basically bullying towards him and making hateful remarks towards him, and every time he tried to kind of answer your questions, speak over him and shout over him and call him all the names under the sun and make out that the only reason why this virus won't go away is because of his actions and his actions alone, and just basically make this guy into a villain. But he's now done that, gone through all that, and then they have the cheek afterwards to say, well, that's not good enough. Well, what did you want the guy to do? Execute himself on live TV for you? What do you want him to do? Do you want him to kind of basically ostracise himself and leave the country and never come back? What do you want? Anyone watching this video now, or anyone in the press, what do you actually want this guy to do that will make you feel better about this situation? Because whatever you do to him, the situation is still here. We've still got the coronavirus. We're still having to kind of semi-isolate and semi-lockdown. So it's still here. So regardless of what he's done and what you want him to do going forward, it's not going to make everything go away. And then we're all going to wake up tomorrow, and because everyone's had a chance to have a go at this guy and bully this guy and make hateful remarks to him and encourage people to do it, because let's be honest, you've got the press having a dig at him for driving for his own reasons, but then over 100 of them are all crammed outside his doorstep yesterday and today, not social distancing, climbing over each other literally to take the guy's picture and encouraging neighbours so they can make a story out of it, encouraging the guy's neighbours to yell abuse at him out of the window. Now that is fucking appalling, because it doesn't help the matter. It's not going to bring back the poor people that have died during this pandemic. It's not going to make the situation any better. We're not going to all of a sudden go from where we are now on this kind of 1 to 5 scale. We're not going to jump from 4 to 1 because we've managed to hang this guy out to dry. It's going to make no difference to our personal situations whatsoever. All it's going to do is make a few people happy that they've had a legitimate reason to bully and be nasty to someone. Now, I'm not saying that what he's done wasn't foolish. It was maybe an error in judgment, but the two things you can't say it is, you can't say what he done was immoral. How can you say any decision you make based on your child's welfare is immoral? Unless he was putting his child in danger or doing something to that child that hurt the child, it's not immoral what he's done. It's nowhere near immoral. It's a momentary lapse of judgment, but it's not caused the situation we're in now. What causes the situation we're in now are mass groups of dickheads that have not complied since day one, that now want to jump on the bandwagon and say, well, it's out of order that he's not done this, it's out of order, sack him, do this to him, do that to him. Oh, and while I'm doing that, I'll text that from while I'm sat on a beach with 1,000 people. Well, fuck off then, because you can't say to other people and knock them for doing something on a one-off occasion while you're sitting there on a crammed beach twittering it and twittering fake photos that people did the other day from Southend Beach, faking photos that were taken 2 years ago to say, look how busy the beach is. Now, I've seen photos, genuine photos today of busy beaches. Now, obviously, these people are fucking morons, because yes, we were told we could go out, but to exercise caution and be alert. We weren't told go out and forget like there's nothing wrong. Now, I know people keep jumping online and saying, how dare you tell me to do what I need to do? How dare you tell me I've got to stay in? There's a fucking reason why we're doing what we're doing. It's because we don't want loads more people to die. We want to keep our families safe. We want to keep ourselves safe so that we can get to a point where the virus doesn't control our lives, we control the virus. But we're not nowhere near that at the moment, nowhere near it. But you get these people that want to pipe up on bloody Facebook saying, how dare you tell me to self-isolate? I don't like isolation. I don't like not being able to see my family. I don't like not being able to see my grandkids. I don't like any of this, but I'm doing it for a fucking good reason. And I'm not going to come out and start using this Dominic Cummings incident to justify breaking the rules and say, well, if he's done it, I'm going to do it. Completely different scenario. He made a decision based on panic and that there was an illness ripping through his family and he didn't know what to do with his kid. Dickheads that are now going to decide to meet up in groups of 30 on beaches and meet up all over the place and not social distance are just using this as an excuse to legitimise being dickheads. And that's what the press are being irresponsible about with this. They're encouraging people to act like dickheads by saying, look what this guy has done and he's made a mug out of you lot. No, he hasn't. I don't feel like I've been made a mug by him. I feel I've been made a mug by the press day after day after day. Just now, well, I say just now, what, an hour ago, Boris made a huge announcement that we're going to move to step 2 of this phase thing and that we're going to look to see open markets being allowed to open. Certain department stores and certain shops, if they can practice COVID social distancing measures, can open by the 15th of June. That's fucking huge news. But no, all the journalists wanted to do was ask more questions about Dominic Cummings, and they've just had an hour and a half with the guy himself. So if they didn't ask the questions then, fucking tough luck. I don't want to hear any more about it. It doesn't help my situation. The press are deemed essential workers because they are the go-between between ourselves and the government. They're meant to get the news of the government, then tell us. They're not fucking doing that at all. They're just making their own stuff up as they go along, and they're just satisfying their own hate. If they don't like someone, they can pillory them in the newspapers. This afternoon, or let's say this evening, that press conference, I wanted to hear questions about, well, how is this exactly going to work? What do you mean by open markets? What kind of department stores? What are the rules that the department stores are going to have to follow? And how it affects me? But I didn't get one question that helped me understand that. All I got was the usual fucking morons that they trot out when they want people to ask stupid, asinine questions like Kunzberg, Peston, Beth Rigby, people like that are trotted out just to ask belligerent, childish, infantile questions that we don't need to know the answer to. They all asked the same thing about this Dominic Cummings thing. And I just thought, we just had to sit and have over an hour of that on the news, watching this guy being torn to shreds. And now you want to come and ask more questions about it. Boris might be lying. He might be covering for his aid. He probably is. The fact of the matter is, though, there was a bigger story in this briefing tonight, and it got completely ignored by this witch hunt of wanting to hang this guy out to dry. Now, the press aren't going to be happy until this guy's life is ruined, and a certain element of the public are going to be the same way. Until this guy's life is absolutely ruined and he's on his arse, they're not going to be happy. They want their pound of flesh. They want their blood. I've said this earlier on social media to someone I was talking to about it. These dickheads that want to keep going after him again and again and again and again, and they won't give up, are the same morons that would turn up to public hangings if they still existed now. They just want to turn up and watch someone go through the mill. Now, we've all had this this kind of thing going on. We don't like what's going on, but we have to do what's going on. But none of what today has helped the matter whatsoever. It's just helped create more hatred. It's helped fuel people to kind of go, well, bollocks, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just caused more damage than good. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about this anymore. I kind of got out of my system what I wanted to say. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some questions about this stage 2, because I think that's huge, and I still aren't quite sure what we're actually going to be doing with this. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening, people. Please stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you sometime later in the week. Cheerio, my lovelies.